Hi people, it's Archivist here, and welcome to my review of Rise of the Tomb Raider for the PC. Due to Microsoft's intervention, Rise of the Tomb Raider has been landed with a staggered release across all platforms. Last year it debuted on the Xbox One, while later this year it will eventually be coming to the PlayStation 4. But the most recent release as of me making this review is for the PC. While I don't at all agree with the way Microsoft have gone about staggering the game's release, there is actually an interesting benefit. Each platform as a result will have far more individual attention granted to it. Rise of the Tomb Raider for the Xbox One is one of the best looking games available for the platform, but what about on the PC? Judging the performance of a PC port can be tricky, especially when you have to take into account that everyone is going to have a different setup. Therefore, I can only really tell you how the game performs on my GTX 970 with i7 3.7 GHz Ivy Bridge, SSD and 8GB of RAM. A decent setup, but far from the best you can get. However, when a game is poorly optimized for the PC, it is immediately obvious to everyone. Last year's Batman Arkham Knight is a prime example of this, as the game ran poorly on even high-end systems. But in this instance, I'm happy to report that while Rise of the Tomb Raider is indeed demanding on its highest settings, the overall experience is optimized extremely well. Naturally, each person has a different standard, and one of PC gaming's greatest advantages is that it allows you to customize the visual presentation to meet your own standard. For instance, I try to balance meeting the console's visual fidelity, but with a more consistent frame rate. After several hours of tweaking, I have come up with a combination of settings that fits my setup extremely well. Although I can't tell you exactly how well this game will run on your system, the wealth of graphical options grants this game fantastic scalability. Therefore, even relatively low-end systems should be able to achieve at least a playable experience, whereas monster rigs will have something truly marvellous to show off their capabilities. There are a few things I should probably mention though. Unless you have a graphics card with a lot of VRAM, as in 4GB or more, you will see the game start to freeze up if you try and play the game with textures set to very high. I for one played the game with the high setting for textures, which still looks really good by the way. Furthermore, the majority of settings can actually be changed on the fly, which is fantastic for instantly comparing and contrasting. It's actually rather refreshing not to have to constantly come in and out of the game to change your graphics settings. I've spoken mostly about the graphics so far, as this is the most defining feature with regards to this particular version of the game. However, looking at the quality of the game itself, there's a lot to be enjoyed here. Lara's movements and range of abilities make gameplay engrossing, fun and dynamic. Furthermore, the cutscenes showcase facial animations and voice acting that place Rise of the Tomb Raider among the best games out there when it comes to action-based storytelling. If I have any criticism about the game itself, it is that it does initially feel very similar to its predecessor. However, as the game progresses, there are enough additions to gameplay to create a successful distinction. Overall, Rise of the Tomb Raider is an absolute must-buy for PC gamers, and to be honest, the only reason to not buy it right now is if you want to get it cheaper in the future. As always people, thanks very much for watching and see you next time.